Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
Up, everybody. Welcome to your Tuesday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, coming to you live from East Memphis here at 12 o'clock noon, just like we are every Tuesday and Thursday. And I got my guy, Uncle Buck, Drew Gann, in the building. Drew, what's happening today, sir?
It's a beautiful day in Northeast Mississippi. I'll tell you that. It's a wild weekend. We're going to get into all of it. More bad than good. Just going to preface that. But, yeah. Hey, with the start of every new week is a new page. And so far, since yesterday, nothing bad's happened. So, we're on a 1.5 day streak here.
Listen, when beggars can't be choosers, right? You got to take the good and the bad, celebrating the good when you can, which is what we do every Tuesday in our first segment.
That's right, folks. We are the Two Bucks Sports Show on Bluff City Media. It is noon on Tuesday, so that means it's time for our first segment. Most everybody's favorite segment of the week. We call it our Best in Beef. This is where Rusty and I catch up over the happenings of our weekends, and we try to keep it down to 2 points. Our best thing that happened to us this weekend and our biggest beef of the weekend. I'll tell you, this weekend's got a couple beefs here that's competing for the top spot, so I may cheat a little. But, Buckets, what's the best thing that happened to you this week?
Oh, man. Everything's good. Like, it was a good weekend. I went home and I saw Dad this weekend. Saturday, Sunday, had some good time with him. We had breakfast for dinner on Saturday, and I know that's not like a big thing, but like,
no, it
breakfast for dinner is like a top shelf idea. I was at Kroger or at Walmart getting a couple things for him and realized we didn't have supper plans, and it just hit me. I'm gonna get some bacon. I'm gonna get some sausage with the sage in it, and we did biscuits, bacon, eggs, and sausage. And it was like one of the better ideas I've had in a long time. It was so good. In fact, we had it again Sunday morning for breakfast. And as DG's pointing out here, yes, we have to keep the numbers low. I have my shoes on, so we definitely can't go above 10.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm a big breakfast guy, just in general, as a rule of thumb. You know, me and Ron Swanson, two biggest advocates for breakfast. And, you know, as a dad of lots of children, you know, when mama's out of town or, you know, out of the house and I'm responsible for dinner, 9 times out of 10, man, we're doing pancakes and bacon. Like, It's easy. I can handle that while juggling a few kids. And it's a hit every time. And I'm happy because I love pancakes and bacon. Yeah,
man. And it was, I realized like we had it a lot growing up. Like with like one night we'd have pancakes, one night I'd have biscuits. I realized because it's cheap. Like you could feed me and my brother a lot of pancakes for a low amount of money. And so like when I bought that stuff on Sunday, Saturday, all kind of registers like, oh, like this is a cheap way to feed 2 growing boys. So best thing was breakfast for dinner with Pops on Saturday night.
Yeah. My best of the weekend. It was a really slow weekend around the Gann house. We stayed close to home Sunday. Rusty came over for a couple hours. Got to hang out with me and the wife for a little while, and just had a really low-key Sunday. The oldest 3 children were at their grandmother's house, so me and Haley just kind of got to have a weekend off a little bit. So it was nice. We got to enjoy that a little bit, and so that's the best thing that happened to us this weekend. But what goes up must come down. Rusty, what's the worst thing that happened to you this weekend? What's your beef?
So my beef of the week is a closeted best. I stay winning. I won the $2 bracket challenge. I selected the winning horse in the Kentucky Derby this past weekend. And Sovereignty, when my dad and I were watching it, Sovereignty was like way back in the back. We both were just like, uh-oh, this is not going well. And they hit that final turn in home stretch. And he called it another gear, and Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby. So, like, I just can't help but win right now. But with that comes the first overall draft pick in the League of Adventures fantasy football draft, which is great in the sense that I'm going to get the first pick of the draft, the best player that's available. But then I don't get to pick again for like 24 picks.
Good Lord. So, if this is your beef of the week, you don't need to be.
Things are going pretty well. Like
Yeah.
things are going pretty well. But the fact that I'm like, I get a pick, then I got to wait an hour before I get to pick again. It's the sacrifices that come with being a winner, Drew.
It's the fun. The fun of winning the Derby is so much fun. And the first pick of the draft is a lot of fun. After the first pick's over, it's a lot of waiting, and it's impossible to strategize in a 12-team snake style draft. It is impossible. I had it last year, and all of the onus is on the number one pick. You cannot screw it up, or you're done. You're done. Yeah. I took Christian McCaffrey last year, and I felt like I should have deserved a trophy for almost making the playoffs, despite taking Christian McCaffrey with the first overall pick and having to wait 24 picks to my next pick.
Especially because the year before you did not take Christian McCaffrey as the first overall pick, and Jay Jettas was on the sideline for you all season long. So I'll just eat a lot of pizza, consume some beverages while I wait between my picks.
Yeah, and I can't let you just go without saying that I gave up on. I didn't take Christian McCaffrey with the first overall pick that year, and I took Justin Jefferson, who stunk, and I still won the trophy. All right, listen, my beef. I got two things here. First, lightning struck a tree outside of my house on Friday afternoon, and apparently ran in the house. I've changed 21 light bulbs and counting.
Goodness.
It fried my internet Friday. When the news of Tomas Izzo being named the permanent head coach, we wanted to do a reaction pod, and I show up, realized I didn't know Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi router blew up. The modem blew up. My extender that gets it all the way down here to this basement blew up. Like, everything's blown up. I came into the studio today, and my mic and my camera and my ring light here is not working because the splitter that I have them all plugged into, it blew up. So, I mean, it is Mother Nature, man. I'm a Power Ranger. I feel like I should be exempt. I'm the one that's supposed to keep the lights on. I don't know why I was targeted,
Mother Nature was wilding for you, man. When I got your house Sunday, there was line in the yard, and it was just like it was a mess.
Debris all in the yard, just bark.
You can follow the line up the tree all the way to the top to see where the lightning hit, which was pretty cool.
I mean, this is like a 50-year-old oak tree. I mean, it's a massive tree. And, my poor mailman was in the driveway putting my mail in the box when it hit. And he texted me, and he was like, I think I'm going to have to change my drawers. I hope you didn't get that on camera. I was like, nah, I didn't. So, that was a beef of the weekend. And, Rusty, I didn't tell you I was going to talk about this, but living in small town Mississippi is great. Living in small towns, period, are great. You feel like we've talked about on this show before. The perks of living in a small town,
for sure.
Everybody knows everybody. Everybody calls you friend. You don't need an invitation. You just come on and sit right in. Also, you feel all the tragedies at the same time. And
I know what you're talking about.
Over the weekend, there was controversy, which happens a lot in small town Mississippi. You hear about it. It's one of the worst aspects of it. So everybody knows what's going on in everybody's business. But it, because of this controversy, a local baseball coach here at the high school, been here for 15 years. He took his own life Sunday afternoon. And it's really kind of shook everybody here. Sure. And this is not necessarily, I'm not a therapist, and I'm definitely by no means qualified to speak long on this topic. I just wanted to say, just use the little platform that we've got here just to say once again, like, I don't care what you've done. I don't care who you are, what you've done, where you've been. If you're having thoughts like this, please just talk to somebody. That man, he got caught up, and I'm sure he thought what he was going through wasn't fair. I don't know. But ultimately, he left a wife and 6 kids at 40 years old. And it has just shaken me and my wife, for that matter, because, I just went out in the yard, started watering the grass after you left on Sunday. And she just came up to me and was just like, listen, please don't ever do that to me. And it's just as a father of 4, like it's just really shaking me. And I just want to say, like, there is nothing in this world that the Lord won't forgive you for, and that if you need help, I won't be there for you if you need me.
Yeah.
I know, Rusty, you and I have both been in sticky situations, and we always know that we've got each other. And I have no problem doing that to anybody else that listens to this or feels like this world and this life is too much for them to bear right now. Don't do that, please.
Yeah.
And please reach out. I'd be happy to talk to you. My DMs are always open on any social media platform. And all you got to do is shoot me a text message, and you can come eat with me. You can talk to me. You can call me. You can email me. I don't care. Just the hard part is the first time to reach out. And I promise you, you'll be met with nothing but grace if you call one of us. So please,
Yep,
please,
absolutely.
please reach out.
Absolutely. Like I always say, be a friend to somebody who needs a friend, because you never know who's struggling. And it's hard to transition after that, but check in on those that you know and love, even the ones that things seem to be going well, because you never know what people are going through. But on the other side, it's time to dive into some Grizzlies postseason awards. This is a segment we're excited about. We give out awards. I'm going to let Drew hype it up when we come back, because this was his brainchild way back at the beginnings of our little humble show.
Yeah, so this goes way back for me. I love The Office, and that's where this idea came from. The Office calls them the Dundies. I started a fantasy football league years ago, so I made an award show, and I called it the Drewskis. We're at the Bucks, 2 Bucks Sports Show now. We may call them the Buckskis. I don't know.
Ooh.
But what we're going to do on today's show, as our Memphis Grizzlies topic, is we are going to give out awards. We're going to do your typical awards. Your MVP, most improved, all that kind of stuff, defensive player of the year. We're going to do all that stuff. We're going to get the boring stuff out first. But then we've come up with our own awards. And they're going to be crazy. They're going to be off the wall. And a lot of them are going to take some explaining for you to understand what exactly we're talking about.
Yeah.
But we're going to get to it right now. It's a segment that we're going. Do we call them the Buckskis, Rusty?
I like Buckskis a lot. Let's like Drewskis had its place in our fantasy football league. Now the Buckskis, and if you get one of these awards, expect a trophy in the mail.
Yeah. So we're gonna start with the housekeeping first. Your prototypical awards. First, MVP, most valuable player. Oh, and these are only Grizzlies. Okay, it's all Grizzlies. So most valuable player, most valuable Grizzly this year. Rusty, who's yours?
It was Jaren. He carried this team when Ja was out. He played really well, limped to the finish, but the majority of the season, Jaren Jackson Jr. was the most valuable player for this team, for setting the stage, closing out some games, and carrying this team when no one else would for the second year in a row.
And I knew you would take that, so I thought of a different angle. And it's the same argument we had earlier in the season. Who's better and who's most important is two totally different topics.
It is.
And the most valuable player on this team is Ja Morant. And it will always be Ja Morant. And the reason why the Grizzlies were so incredibly mid this year was because your most valuable player didn't play like he should have. Yeah. So my MVP is Ja Morant. And it also the reason why the NBA MVP should be Nikola Jokic, because look at that Denver team without him.
42-22 last night against Oklahoma City, and coaching, being the first player coach since like Twiddle Fingers McGee for the White Sox in 1927.
It's probably was Bill Russell a player coach?
I think he might have been back in the day. Yeah. Oscar Robinson, one of them was.
Yeah. All right. So you have Jaren for MVP. I have Ja. Next on my list, I didn't do them in any particular order. Most improved player. Rusty?
Shelby's losing her mind in there. My most improved / comeback player of the year was Brandon Clark. I like that. Like, I feel like this could be kind of go a few different ways. His game took another step defensively for us this year, because he was the one closing out on MLK Day. He was always in the right position at the right time on defense. I'm going to give it to Brandon Clark.
See, this was a no-brainer for me. I didn't even consider Brandon Clark for this one. It's Scottie Pippen Jr., the player that Rusty didn't even want on a full-time contract.
I never said that. I said I wanted him later.
He didn't even want him. He didn't want him. I was on board. Give him the full deal.
Whatever.
He went through peaks and valleys, but what happens in the postseason is the most important characteristic that you can have in Uncle Buck's ledger. That tick in that ledger, we got to see it this year for Scottie Pippen Jr. You saw a lot of the season without Ja. You saw him go with he peaked and he had some pretty low valleys, but he figured it out in the postseason against the best team in the NBA. And so that's why Scottie Pippen Jr. is my most improved player of the year.
Solid
comeback
argument.
Player is different, though. You did, I would say BC's a comeback player of the year.
Yeah, and I just like, for me, I saw like an evolution in his defensive game and just another echelon that he got better in for me.
All right. One of the handful of teams in the NBA that can actually debate who the coach of the year in a single season is the Memphis Grizzlies. So, Rusty, who's your coach of the year?
I mean, it's Thomas Isolo, man. Like, he did the ultimate saboteur job. Like, he sat on the bench and he coached and he was there, but he was clearly the head coach in waiting. Had Taylor Jenkins looking over his shoulder the entire time. Just a master class in sabotage. Give me Isolo as a coach of the year.
Listen, only one of these coaches had a winning record. Only one of these coaches is the winningest coach in Grizzlies franchise history. Only one of these coaches died by the knife in the back of his assistant coach and general manager.
It's the E2 Brute Award.
Brutus. And the Brutus Award goes to T.I. And the Julius Caesar Award goes to Taylor Jenkins.
Just ask me about my defensive player of the year now. Go right ahead.
DPOY, defensive player of the year. Who do you got, Rusty?
It'd be Taylor Jenkins. He was the ultimate defender of Zach Edey getting the Rookie of the Year award. He was the ultimate defender on the court multiple times, getting caught out of position at the time stripe, having to play defense a little bit. He ultimately derailed Ja Morant's season. He was the ultimate defender of the Memphis Grizzlies. Give me Taylor Jenkins as my defensive player of the year.
That's one way to look at it, I guess. All right, well, I'm going to say Jaren. Jaren / Scottie Pippen Jr.
Just know, we're already going off the rails here with the Buckskis. It's only going to get worse. So if you're on Twitter, come over to YouTube. Tell us we're buffoons. Tell us who you think should win these awards. Like and subscribe while you're here hanging out with us.
Yeah. All right, next. Again, one of the few teams in the NBA that can have a debate. Rusty, Jalen Wells or Zach Edey or Cam Spencer, who is your rookie of the year?
What's frustrating is I want to give it to Zach Edey, but because of the argument I made in the previous award with Taylor Jenkins being the ultimate defensive player of our own team, I got to go Jalen Wells, being coming from the second round, the 39th pick, to being a every game starter, your go-to defender against the other team's best players. Like, it's Jalen Wells and it's not close. Big shout out to Taylor Jenkins, because this would have been a much healthier debate had he not been petty and benched Zach Edey in January.
Yeah. I think this is going to be the only one we agree on. So much can be said for Jalen Wells about exceeding expectation as a 39th pick in the draft.
And it's still not enough.
Yeah. If he doesn't get clipped out of the air by KJ Simpson at Charlotte, he plays how many games did the Grizzlies play this year? 88. He plays 88 games, you know? And so he was good. He was put in a starting lineup when he shouldn't, and no one expected him to. And he held it. He didn't just get it by default, but he kept it.
And I think he's a huge reason we moved off of Marcus Smart, because we had Marcus Smart at home. I don't agree with the timing, but I think that's a big reason why Marcus Smart lost his job is the emergence of Jalen Wells.
Jalen Wells is also my rookie of the year. All right, the last one. This is more like an ESPY type award that you see in the ESPYs. This is play of the year. Play, whatever play you want to think of.
There was a few, so I narrowed it down to two. Asking me to have one was hard because there were two that really. As soon as you got to pick
one, and then I'm going to pick one. Then you can give your honorable mention.
I'm gonna go off the rails here. For me, it was GG meeting Giannis at the rim. When he met Giannis at the rim with that big block and just shut down one of the best dunkers, in-game dunkers in the game, from a guy whose defense rivals Santi Aldama for the Matador Award. I'm going to give it to Gigi for the play of the year.
Okay, that's fine. All right, mine is it's the only play that popped in my head. It was the John Morant putback dunk in the second play-in game against Dallas.
That was ferocious.
It's just an absolute monster of a dunk.
Mm-hmm.
After we thought he was going to have his leg amputated in that first play-in game against Golden State, for him to miraculously come up 7 foot in the air and throw down that putback, it gave me hope for the playoffs. Because at that point, not a lot of hope, but I knew we weren't going to be able to do anything.
But an ounce of hope.
Yeah. And we knew we weren't going to do anything without Ja. And so the fact that I think it was early in the second quarter, he threw that down.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, okay, maybe.
Okay, we're good.
maybe. All right.
My honorable mention was the 360 layup against Brooklyn with Ja, where he starts to spin on one side of the rim, spins and reverse lays up on the other side. I mean, it was the third most viewed play of the NBA season on social media. It was awesome.
And we lost that game.
I know. But basketball in November doesn't matter. Anyway, I digress.
All right. So this is where we're going to get a little weird, okay?
Yeah.
We've created our own awards.
Mm.
You don't know what these awards are. You've never heard of these awards before. So, Rusty, give us your first Buckets Bucksky.
My first Buckets Busky is the NASCAR Sponsorship Award, because NASCAR pulls out all these sponsors from all around the world to be painted on these cars. And so
I just want to take my Mountain Dew Chevy.
That's it. If I am the Memphis Grizzlies, my sponsor year is the Waffle House for giving Taylor Jenkins those Waffle House menus that he looked at on the sidelines, because he clearly wasn't looking at any kind of spreadsheet to help him play winning basketball or coach winning basketball. My NASCAR sponsor of the year is the Waffle House.
Okay. All right. You're a Cubs fan. You're gonna like this. And it's not Bartman related at all. This is the John Lester Award. For those who don't know, John Lester, Cy Young winning left-handed starting pitcher.
Amazing.
Pitched for a long time. He pitched a long time for the Cubs.
Won a World Series with the Cubs. Won a World Series with the Red Sox.
But you know what he had? Everybody knew. He had the yips. And he could not do one thing. He could throw the ball with precision to the catcher. Yeah. But you knew that if you got on first base, John Lester was not picking it off, because he could not trust himself to throw the pitcher's mound to first base or to second base. And so they would just lap the bases like they were in Little League, because they knew that John Lester just wasn't going to throw.
Mm-hmm.
This award goes to Luke Kennard, because for some reason in this season, he just quit shooting the basketball for an inexplicable reason.
Yep.
So the John Lester Award for not being able to do what makes you good, goes to Luke Kennard.
I love it. My next award is the Danny DeVito Award. So Danny DeVito is a much loved Hollywood figure. He's pocket size. He doesn't do anything like super great, but like it's hard to find somebody who hates Danny DeVito. He is one of the most well-liked character actors there ever was. I loved him in Twins. He's great in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He was in Matilda. He's been in so many great movies, but he's never like the lead guy, right? Like he's always like a background character, and he's small and he's well-loved. So for me, Yuki Kawamura is the Danny DeVito Award winner, because he's not really great at anything, but we love him anyway. Like cult-like following, much like Danny DeVito.
Yeah. All right. Well, Yuki comes up later. Okay.
Yeah, I got one for Luke coming up here in a minute.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep going. All right. This is the Benedict Arnold Award presented by Uncle Buck. He tried his best, and he's a traitor to the United States and to the country that he serves. And that's Zach Kleiman. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Just if you think slimy and conniving, just watch that press conference and watch Zach Kleiman. He totally screwed the pooch from before the season even started. Yeah. Everybody wants to hate on Taylor Jenkins, and yes, he crumbled under pressure, but that pressure was placed on him completely and totally because Zach Kleiman got too big for his britches. He cut him. He neutered him before the season started. He pitted players. Players had to pick a coach to support, and you knew that Taylor was a lame duck from the start. Yes, did he struggle under pressure? Absolutely. But it is my honest belief that if Taylor Jenkins just retains his staff and is allowed to have business as usual, that this team does not go through the turmoil that it goes through. And the turmoil is what derailed the season more than the coaching did. And so that is the reason why Benedict Arnold Award goes to Zach Kleiman.
Yeah, I mean, some might say that competition behind you, in football, like they bring in like the young hotshot behind you, it makes you perform better. Taylor Jenkins sunk like a rock.
I think that's a good point. I think that's a good point. And that's the reason why they say that the most popular player on a football team is the backup quarterback. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't make him the best quarterback.
I'm just making an observation.
I know. I get competition may brood, into
make you better. Some people
excelling further. I'll get that.
And then others is going to put others is going to make their stank worse.
I said he did not handle the pressure well. That was something I said just a minute ago. But I just don't think that it was necessary. So
yeah, clearly I made a good point there. That plucked a nerve with the Taylor Jenkins supporter here. But
I'm just right.
We're moving. We're moving right along. I've talked enough about that buffoon for one season. So Drew and I grew up in good Southern Baptist homes. Like we grew up in the Deep South in the Bible Belt. So this is an award that speaks to both of us. Growing up, we were always in the church every time the doors were open. So my He Is Risen Indeed award goes to one G.G. Jackson, who didn't let something silly like the NBA playoffs get in the way of being at church in his pastels on Easter Sunday. Because you know what happened? The boy is 20 years old. His mama called Zach Kleiman and said, Mr. Kleiman, I don't care what he does. Oklahoma City, I don't care who it is. He's coming to church in South Carolina with me. I'll see you there. And Gigi went to church instead of the NBA playoffs. So my He Is Risen award goes to Gigi.
You know what? Do you know what? I didn't watch that game either. It was Easter Sunday, and we were playing Oklahoma City at 2:30.
He said, I got pastels to wear and drums to beat. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I like that award a lot. I like that award. I do.
Gigi was knee deep in tater salad when we were down 50. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. The big potluck Easter dinner after the sunrise service, or the big breakfast after the sunrise service, at the graveyard. That's what my grandma's church used to do. We meet out at the graveyard, because one day we all shall rise.
I get it, but that's a bit morbid.
I mean, this is like 70-year-old Southern Baptist folks. They don't always have the greatest outlook on life. So, all right. My award. This is my favorite one. I do it at the Drewskis. Back when we did the Drewskis, it was my favorite one that I led every single edition of the Drewski Awards off with. And this is the Al Gore Award. Al Gore, most famously known.
I have won this award many times.
Yeah. Al Gore, famous for his climate change initiatives and all this kind of stuff. But if you don't remember, back 25 years ago, he ran for president against George W., in which he won the Electoral College, but did not win the presidency. I'm sorry, he won the popular vote, but did not win the Electoral College, therefore making George W. Bush the president. So this is an award that is given out to the person with the most points, but still loses. And this award goes to Desmond Bain for his 44-point performance against I don't know who, but we lost.
Insert any team here because we lost several games.
And it could go to Jaren Jackson Jr. as well because he had a 40-point game the next day and also lost.
And Scotty had 30-something points against Oklahoma City, and we lost. So, this could go to a lot of different players. That's a crowd favorite.
Loss. Al Gore Award goes to Desmond Bain.
Every team needs that bright, shining spot that you can look to, and you'll see that beacon of light casting hope for the team. That's going to be, you can follow that light in the darkness. And it's two guys who struggle with a problem similar to this. The Bucks' best bright spot goes to Jay Huff's bald spot that would shine on television. And you knew when he come in, if there was a certain gleam off that bald spot, he was going on a heater and going 4 for 6 from beyond the arc. But if that thing was dulled and polished over, you might as well send him back down because Jay Huff was not going to be involved. So our best shining spot goes to Jay Huff's bald spot this year.
Okay. How many more you got?
Well, I got two more.
All right, do one more.
All right, so my next is it made a very brief but impactful appearance this year. And so it doesn't take right. Red Panda, goat. It doesn't take a lot to make an impact. But my Mustachioed Marauder Award goes to Santi Aldama's mustache that we saw for 2 games, and that lip sweater was disgusting. And then he came back out looking like a child when he shaved it off. But the first thing that happened when he pops on my TV screen with that mustache, Maggie goes, "Oh no!"
Ooh.
The Mustachioed Marauder is Santi Aldama.
Yeah. All right, this is my last one. Listen, we're all fans here, and I just want to give an award to the best fan that I've seen, interacted with on Twitter, seen anywhere around. I mean, it's a long, like I said, we played 88 games this year. Many of us watched all of them, and we're invested in all of them. And there was one fan that inspired me more than any of them, that always had a positive attitude, regardless of how badly we were getting beaten, or just did not let the controversy and the arguments spill onto the court or to the social medias, or he just never changed his outlook of just being happy to be there. And this award, I call the Fan of the Year award, goes to Yuki Kawamura. Yuki is just the best because it didn't matter what was going on. He was just happy to be here, man. Just constantly just learning new terms, new slang terms in American.
Yep.
Getting some playing time, once in a while. Just happy to be here. Nobody was happier this year in just a decrepit season than Yuki Kawamura.
Yeah, Maggie said he was most likely to end up on a T-shirt because half the team had him on a hoodie or a T-shirt or something. So I'll go my last award, kind of in the same vein of yours earlier. The most likely to close all his rings on his Apple Watch, just out there getting exercise, getting his cardio in, wearing out his Fitbit, goes to one Mr. Luke Kennard. Luke is in the best shape of his life because he didn't have to worry about shooting. He was just running up and down the court, getting his steps in every night. I'd love to see what his Fitbit data looks like on a game day. That fool's probably got 31,000 steps and no points. And it's the most unpressured situation in the NBA. Luke Cardio Kennard running out there, getting his steps in for the Memphis Grizzlies. That's our episode of the Buckskis. You got anything else?
You could also give him the Sir Isaac Newton Award because he did discover gravity. So
that's fair.
As Tomas told us, it's about gravity.
Yeah. I mean, we could also there's a Mighty Mouse Award for our littlest best warrior going to Scottie Pippen Jr. The Doak Walker Award in college football is given to the best running back who's not a quarterback. Could be Desmond Bain. There's a lot of Buckskis out there, but we gave you our best list. Let us know what you think. If there's any awards you want to give the players, let us know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe while you're there. Drew, it wasn't the season that we'd hoped for, but we hope that the players enjoy their Buckskis that they got today.
Any player that received an award and would like a trophy, please just DM me your phone number and address, and I will personally deliver it to your house.
That's it. Just let me know. We'll meet up with you. But we do want to touch on one topic that's near and dear to our hearts because this weekend is a big weekend in the state of Mississippi in one of our favorite sports.
Yeah. So, listen, this college baseball season, we haven't talked much about it, mostly because we've had plenty to yell about the Grizzlies. And so it's time for us to just do something for us. And let's talk about college baseball. It's what me and Rusty love. This is our escape, something that we don't typically fight a lot about or have to talk about a lot. We just sit down and enjoy it. Rusty, have you enjoyed your baseball season this far?
No. In the last week or so, it's gotten better. But up to this point, it's just been doom and gloom in Starkville. And it's a similar tale of the Memphis Grizzlies. You had the large, loudmouth portion of the fan base, and rightfully so, calling for Chris Lemonis' job, who was the skipper for Mississippi State since we won the national championship way back in the year of our Lord, 2021. he took over a team that was loaded with talent from Andy Cannizaro, who moved on to greener pastures for reasons we won't discuss on this podcast.
Let's discuss them.
All right, fine. He got caught. He got caught knee deep in an intern in the dugout, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay, there we go.
He got fired.
He's not on to greener pastures. He was taken by a horse trailer to a different pasture,
right?
Far away from the pasture that was paying him millions of dollars.
But he recruited a whale of a team that led Chris Lemonis to win a national championship with his recruits, and since then we have a losing record in SEC play. We've been swept more often than not, and we haven't swept anybody in 2 calendar seasons until this past weekend. And so the fact that we've finally got to the point where Lemonis was let go, I think it took a little while to get there. Zach Selman is from Oklahoma. He's not used to baseball mattering as much as it does in the state of Mississippi, but we moved on. And since then, we're 4-0. We scored 18 runs against Memphis on Tuesday and swept a decent Kentucky team this past weekend with good baseball. I said decent. I didn't say good. I said a decent Kentucky team with good baseball this past weekend. A lot of guys are saying they're playing more free. Could it be that Chris Lemonis is finally gone and they can? Or is it more just the pressure of will our coach be fired or not being gone? Either way, Bulldogs are playing good baseball again.
Yeah. Ole Miss season started off pretty hot. You got, much like Mississippi State, Ole Miss won the College World Series in 2022 and have not been back to the postseason since. This season, they kind of seem to figure it out. Had a bunch of big bats that they brought in out of the transfer portal. They're starting 3 guys on the weekend that were on that College World Series team in 2022, which is crazy to think about in this day and time.
Yeah.
So you got veterans starting pitching. You've got a bunch of guys that have seemed to work out of the transfer portal, but they've kind of hit a lull lately. They hit a lot of home runs. It's basically the only way they score runs. And when that is the case and you run up against good pitching, then you're kind of screwed. And that's what's kind of happened as of late. Ole Miss losing 2 out of 3 this weekend at Oklahoma. Yep. And they are, I think, 3 games up on Mississippi State. Both of the Ole Miss is about middle of the pack in the SEC. State's the lower third. But this series, Ole Miss plays Mississippi State in Starkville this weekend. And everything's kind of on the line for both teams. If Mississippi State can win the series against Ole Miss at home, I think it pretty well solidifies them as a tournament team because they play Missouri the last week of the year, and Missouri is 0-24 in the SEC. Wow. And Ole Miss with a series win, and maybe even a sweep, maybe need a sweep. You could get to 16 wins, and you get back in the host talk again. Ole Miss, I think, needs to be at 16 because they got 16 SEC wins out of 30 to get in the host conversation. But you go to Starkville, and then you have Auburn, who is a top 10 team, who just won 2 out of 3 against the top 5 team, Tennessee, this weekend to close out your schedule. But it is in Oxford. So the road's a little harder for Ole Miss, but the top end is higher for Ole Miss right now than State.
Yeah, so State's going to need to sweep both Ole Miss and Missouri and then make some noise in the SEC tournament to get into the host category. And it's wild. Ever since we've made the last round of improvements to Duty Noble, there's not been a single postseason baseball game there. We made all the adjustments and the upgrades after the national championship year, that offseason, and we've not hosted one there. One of the premier, if not the premier destination in all of college baseball has not seen postseason baseball in Starkville, and you wonder why we fired our coach. The top half of the SEC is stacked. You've got Texas, who's 19-5 in conference play. They'll host Arkansas, Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, and Vandy. Feel pretty much like teams that are going to be hosting. You've got Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma in that next tier with currently sitting at 13 wins. I agree. You got to get to 16, if not 17 conference wins if you're going to host. But I think 16, like it's well known. If you're 500 in SEC baseball, you're going to be in the tournament as a competitor regardless. And so State's in a good position to get there. Ole Miss does have a bit of a leg up, but we'll find out this weekend which team's going to rise to the top to help to figure out how their postseason is going to look. I think I lost my co-host here. He's going to pop back in just a second, but baseball's coming up to an end. We've got one of the most exciting tournaments and postseason styles that you've ever seen in college baseball. If you're new to the sport, if you've never been around, come check it out. The SEC tournament is great. College baseball, as it winds down, is great. Heading towards the College World Series, which is an unbelievable experience. So if you're new, hang out. We're going to, as the Grizzlies season has winded down, we're going to deep dive a bit more on SEC baseball heading into the tournament in Hoover, as well as Omaha, as we trend that way in June. So, Drew, any closing thoughts on SEC baseball before we let the good people get back to their days on this Tuesday? Oh, can't hear you, buddy. He's clearly having some technical difficulties still going on with the Wi-Fi situation there. Again, in his beef of the week, we found out that Uncle Buck got fried. Still can't hear you, buddy. So we'll go ahead and wrap this show up. Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us on this Tuesday edition of the $2 Sports Show. We are live every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 right here on YouTube. If you made it this far, thanks for being here, especially if you're not related to us, because if our mamas are watching this show, like that makes sense. Maggie, Haley, that makes sense. If you chose to be here, thanks for being here. Go and hit like, subscribe, turn those notifications on so you can hang out with us every Tuesday and Thursday. In the meantime, be a friend to somebody who's and Uncle Buck. I think you're back.
Yeah.
There are no refunds for what you hear on the $2 Sports Show.
That's right, because with the $2, you always get what you pay for, and that's pretty spotty Wi-Fi.
See y'all Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.